Okay, so I'm still in Springfield. This is the state building, and soon to be, or after state building became the Capitol. Let me just show you real quick. I'm gonna walk back a little bit. This is just a really cool. Springfield's just a really cool historic town. I may not make. I'm getting really tired of this selfie stick. Like I said, I got plenty of them at home. I just happen to grab the worst one possible. So there's the state building. I'm actually using my wired mic right now. So that's the state building. We're gonna go inside in a second, and the curator in there, his name is Mike. He's gonna give us a little detailed history on what Lincoln did here, what his office was while he was here. He was actually, this is where he gave his House Divided speech. Also in the same room where he gave the House Divided speech is where they laid him in state for his funeral when they brought his body up from Washington after the assassination. So in order for me not to fall on these steps, I'm walking backwards right now. I'm gonna pause it real quick. Really beautiful architecture. And I'll ask Mike a few questions. It'll be more informative hearing from him. Okay, so I just came in the foyer, and I'm gonna introduce you to Mike. He's kind of giving us a brief overlay of the land, and I'm gonna ask him a few questions. So the first question I wanted to ask you, Mike, is, so this was known as the State House originally?
It was the fifth state capital for Illinois.
Okay, and then when did this stop being used for that purposes, and the one that exists today, what year was that?
1876, they moved from here to the other building.
Okay, and what were you telling me about Lincoln's speech and after he passed away?
Okay. Lincoln gave his House Divided speech upstairs in the House of Representatives. That's also the place he laid in state, the 12th place he laid in state. 75,000 people filed through the door right here behind this young gentleman, and they filed through and up the stairs and around, and they went by and passed by him so they could pay their respects. And at the time, when they closed the doors, there was 25,000 people who did not get to see him. So they actually lined the street all the way from the tomb, or from here to the tomb, so they could pay their respects and say their goodbyes as his casket went past.
And how many days was he laid up?
Just one day.
Just one day.
Yeah.
And I've been to the tomb before. How far is the tomb from here?
Approximately 2.5 miles, maybe 3.
2.5 miles. And so then after he was assassinated in Washington, they brought him back here. Did they have, oh no, it was his son's burial service that they held at his own house. His youngest son, I think they had.
I am not positive on that one. I am just on this site. I'm not
Okay.
sure about that. Sorry about that.
Okay. Oh no problem. I just came from the house, and sometimes when you see so many museums and exhibits, I started getting my facts crossed.
Oh no, I totally understand. But yeah, no, I'm just versed somewhat in this one. I'm just a seasonal help. So.
Okay.
But yeah.
So this was, one more time, this was an operational till what year?
It was cornerstone was laid 1837. Started in use in 1839. Fully in use besides the library in 1840. And then in 1873, they started building the new Capitol. And in 1876, they moved to the new Capitol.
Okay, 1876, 100 years after the Declaration of Independence.
Yep, at our regular centennial, yes.
Very interesting. Okay, I'm going to pause this real quick. I'm going to go ahead and walk around a little bit. And shoot, if I have any more questions when I come down, I'll be sure to look you up.
Okay, thank you
so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to pause it real quick and then show you some other rooms. So this is, I wasn't sure if this was going to be like a museum or an exhibit, but they definitely allowed the public in here just for a requested donation, $5 or $2 donation. Very worth coming in here. I'm just going to go around and show you some of the rooms. So it says treasure up there. That's the treasurer's room. So we can walk around a lot in this building. Really rustic hardwood floors. Here's another angle of the treasurer's room. There are some areas that are roped off. You know, they just ask that you view from the roped off areas, which is, I'm just getting very, entrance to historic area. Let's go look down, let's go check this out. That's what I just saw. Now, let's just stay in the main part. I'll come back up here later. You know, the issue with the selfie stick is that the weight of the camera is not center, so I just have to keep doing like a balancing act. Like I said, I have other ones at home that are better than this. Here are some of the office rooms or courtrooms. The one that he gave his speech is upstairs, and I'll go up there in a second. I believe this is all period correct. This is all period correct furniture on how you may have seen it. I don't know if it's original too, when it was in operation. This might be like a modern day break room because there's a chess table and some cards. So I might be in what we would consider in offices today as, hey, whose sandwich is in the refrigerator in the break room that's been there for a week? So this looks like they would hear some court cases in this room. You know, I've done so much sightseeing this year between Philadelphia and DC, you know, going to all these other state houses. I was just telling Mike that the facts, dates, events start to blur, and maybe that's a good thing because I can always go back to these videos that I have on YouTube and see. It's kind of like a digital video audio library. So I'm on the other side. This staircase is dual-sided. I'm on the back side. When I came in, it looked just like that when I came in when I was talking to Mike earlier. Okay, so the room I just came out of was Supreme Court room. That's behind me. This is Secretary of State room. I mean, the architecture and the furniture, you know, even their current, I have some photos on Facebook of the current Capitol. Even the current Capitol looks very historic and I don't want to say dated, but it does. It's very historic. I'm not sure which room we're going into now. Let me look outside. This is the state library room. I guess chess was a big thing back then. Kind of is now. Okay, I'm gonna pause it for now as I go up those stairs so I can save some video time, and in case I trip and fall, it's not captured on video. So I made it upstairs without falling, but look at this staircase. I mean, if that's not a work of art, that is just awesome. I'm really impressed by it. I'll show it to you from this angle. This is it says committee room. I'm not sure what that's all about. Of course, there's all kinds of stuff you can read. I'd never get out of here. So vast field of usefulness. The Springfield Ladies Soldiers Aid Society. Stairways locked off. Senate chamber. Okay, this is a Senate chamber. The next one I'm going to go into is where Lincoln gave a speech and what he lied in state. This looks like when I went to, I think it was called the Little White House for, oh man, it was in Georgia. I wasn't doing YouTube videos at the time. The president with polio, I can't remember his name. Oh my goodness. I can see him. I can see him. But anyways, I went to the Little White House where he had a wellness center for people with the same condition, and I saw a lot of these wheelchairs there. World War II. He was the one that gave the World War II speech. On December 7th, 1941, the United States was suddenly and deliberately attacked by the Empire of Japan. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot his name. Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt? Okay, I'm gonna get back to you. I feel really stupid for not knowing that. So anyways, this is the Senate room, kind of like mirroring what the Washington D.C. would be like. You have the Senate room and then the representative room. So let's go over there now. So I'm walking directly across the hall into the representative room, and this is going to be, I think this is going to be the room where Lincoln, let me get away from that light. This is the room where Lincoln gave his speech, House Divided speech, and this is where he laid in state for only one day before his processional went over to the tomb where he's at now. I'm not going there today. I've been there before. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend coming to all these sites: the house, the museum, this old Senate house. I'll give you some panoramic views. So that's where he would have given his speech, and that's where he would have laid in state. I know this is much bigger than the courthouse in To Kill a Mockingbird with Gregory Peck, but it kind of reminds me of it with the mezzanine up there. There's a mezzanine floor up there. And that type of architecture, those boxes that look like that, reminiscent of the Pantheon in Rome, look just like that. Looks like some artifacts over here. Candlesticks, brass, and a piano. Of course, now with the modern HVAC system, they're able to regulate the heat and cold. Kind of humid outside, it's comfortable inside, but I can imagine back then that was a challenge. You know, after 12 minutes, oops. I just came through a bad area. Gotta walk over this. So, let me pause it real quick to make sure I'm in the right room. This room is called a reception room. So if you're a Route 66 enthusiast, or Lincoln enthusiast, or history enthusiast, this is a cool stop along the way that I recommend you make. This is the governor's room. There's a bust of Lincoln in there. I'm really getting some really crazy lighting coming through these windows. That's where the governor would be. So there's a lot of Civil War history here also. Here's some cavalry sabers. Model 1860 light cavalry saber, naval officer's sword. So sabers have a bend to it. Sabers are more classical, have a bend, a notable bend to a saber, and swords are pretty much straight. The reason why the bend in the saber, more than likely they were used as cavalry sabers, as motion of riding on the horses would go, that would make the swipe and the attack more effective with that bend in it. So it was designed for mounted troops on horseback. These were actually, this is really cool because these are actually real sabers that were used or owned. You know, to what degree they were used in combat, I would not know. This top one with all the etching on it's a presentation sword actually. One's called, this bottom one's called a dragon saber. They're very, you know, oh, here's some rifles. Well, I might be using that term wrong because rifle would imply that the barrels were rifled. What I really don't know, because I'm not an expert on this, is if it's flintlock or black powder. Even those terms, I'm not cap and ball, black powder, flintlock. Those terms all mean something different as far as how the weapon was charged and fired and what kind of ammunition came out the other end. I'm not an expert on that, so I'm not going to confuse anybody by giving you wrong information, but you can also look all that up. And I'm sure there's people watching this video that know a lot more about black powder, flintlock, and cap and ball. Okay, I guess I gotta get moving on. I think I've seen all I wanted to. I just wanted to come back in this room one more time. You know what I'm gonna do, because I want to absorb it. I'm gonna sign off and get out of that light first. I'm gonna sign off on this video. I'm already at 16 minutes. Hope you enjoyed this. I'm gonna cut this one, I'll post it. I'm gonna go sit in the room where Lincoln gave his speech and where he laid in state just to have some quiet time. All right, I'll catch you guys next time. I'll be at the Lincoln Museum across the street.